Welcome to Choosing the Right Journal for Your Research from the Health Sciences and Human Services Library at the University of Maryland, Baltimore. This video will discuss the key factors to consider when choosing a journal to publish your research in. Choosing the right journal to publish in can be overwhelming. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of journals in each discipline, and narrowing it down to just a few is daunting. You may be receiving email invitations to publish in journals you've never heard of. You might be new to publishing or doing research in a new field where you don't know the journals as well. Today, we'll talk about the major considerations to keep in mind during this process. The first thing to keep in mind is that it's easier to fit your manuscript to a particular journal if you choose the journal before you start writing. Many journals have strict guidelines on article structure, formatting, citation style, and more. And some of these things can be cumbersome to change retroactively. Make sure you look at the instructions for authors page from any journal you're considering. A good place to get started is to evaluate your own research and that of your mentors. If you're a student or a postdoc, what journals does your PI often publish in? Where are the articles that you tend to read published? This includes articles that have provided you background information for your own research and foundational studies that you cite in your own work. If they've published works similar to yours in the past, they may be a good option for your future work. There are many factors to consider in choosing a journal. These are just a few of them. You'll need to decide for yourself which ones are most important in order to prioritize in making your decisions. First, ask yourself about your intended audience. Who do you want to read your publication? Do you want more of a broad range of readers, or do you want to target your specific field? If your research isn't multidisciplinary, consider a more focused journal that'll reach your colleagues in that field more efficiently. Even though the journal's overall readership might be smaller than some more general journals, the readers are more likely to be peers in your field that will go on and cite you. The more closely your research fits the scope of a journal, as described on their website, the more likely it is that they'll accept your manuscript. Don't choose a less related journal just because it seems more prestigious. Find a high-quality journal in your specific research area. You also want to consider here the type of article you're writing. Not every journal publishes case reports or review articles. Different types of articles may also have page or word limits for specific journals. So you want to keep those in mind so you don't have to significantly edit down a manuscript before submitting it. Time to publication may be an important factor for some researchers. If you need to get an article published quickly for promotion or a grant application, pay attention to this. Some prestigious journals can take months to get through the review process. Keep in mind that this can be difficult to find out, although some journals will list their time to publication on their websites. A similar question to ask is whether the journal has an expedited review process for time-sensitive research. If you're reporting groundbreaking results, you'll want to know how soon your research can get through the peer review process and into the journal. Access may also be a meaningful factor. If you want to make sure that your research is available to anyone who wants to read it, regardless of their access to a library with numerous resources, an open access journal might be a good option. Many funders have a public access mandate, and others require that you publish in an open access journal, so make sure you know what your requirements are. Not all journals are created equal, so thinking about a journal's reputation will be important. There are a lot of questions to ask yourself here. Do articles published in this journal use established techniques in your field? What is the scientific rigor of the articles? What is the editorial quality? Are the published authors in this journal experts in your field? This is where you might also consider metrics like the journal impact factor. If you're not sure whether a journal you're considering is the right one for you, you have a few options. Some journals will accept pre-submission inquiries. You'll want to check a journal's website for specific instructions, but often you'll submit an abstract and a cover letter to see if your manuscript is of interest to the journal. It can save you the work of fully formatting an article for a journal if an editor tells you ahead of time that your manuscript is outside the scope of their journal. The website Think, Check, Submit maintains a checklist of items to consider before submitting your manuscript to a journal. The checklist seen here includes some questions that we've already discussed, as well as others that focus on other aspects of a journal's reputation that are especially important when you're not familiar with the publisher. Finally, if you're not sure about whether a journal is the right one for you, discuss it with your PI, another mentor, or a librarian. We can provide additional suggestions and help you narrow down your choices. This concludes our discussion of factors to consider when choosing a journal. For more information, you can access our publication planning guide linked above. This includes resources for choosing a journal, as well as more detailed information about open access journals and predatory publishing. UMB faculty, students, and staff can email the library with specific questions.